what we have done is that we have connected this to these two words, which is performance, which is results, and that is very simple because it is a lead measure. And I'm sure this word may be known to some of us, may not be known to some of us. So I'm going to talk a little bit about it. Lead measures, lag measures. This is where companies work today on. Companies are essentially focused on lag measures, and the companies who do well, they do keep the lag measure in mind, but they actually work every day on their lead measures. That's the main focus. L&D does predict performance. Let me talk about two words, and these two words that I'm going to spend time here would be performance and result and lead measure. As I say, performance or result is the key. Do we agree with this? To any organization today, performance needs to be superior and sustained. Great organizations, great teams, great individuals have sustained superior performance. Great organizations have intensely loyal customers. Great organizations have a winning culture, and a winning culture comes from, again, called you and me. How engaged are we, which is your teams, your employees, how well are they engaged, and obviously distinctive contribution. So if greatness is the name of the game, which is the end in mind, the big circle, if the end in mind is organizational greatness, L&D people, that's the first big one. You got to focus on these three. And if you can't make your presence felt in these three areas, L&D will not be considered to be meaningful in your organization, I can assure you. Make your presence felt. Yeah. Leadership development of your organization. Make your presence felt in building effective individuals in your organization. And make your presence solidly felt when it comes to systemic development of focus and execution. Because at the end of the day, what matters, what Ramcharan wrote in his beautiful book, Execution, that the biggest unaddressed issue in the corporate world today is execution. So this is the greatness model, which is essentially in the book Good to Great. Another model if you would like to take it back for you. Am I making sense to my organization in L&D? And that's what FranklinCovey tries to do. When we go back and say, okay, we want to talk to you about performance improvement, we want to understand your strategy game. We want to understand your execution game. We want to understand how you build trust in the organization. Can we be a part of that? And if we can be a part of it, then you would like to live with me. Otherwise, we will become an expense in your balance sheet. And every time L&D becomes an expense, believe me, next year the budget cuts down. Now, if you see this particular model, it's the same model which I just showed you, strategy and execution, shown in a different way. What constitutes execution and what constitutes strategy? Do we have a control on both of them? 100%. We have a full control on one of them, because if we have a control on both of them, ladies and gentlemen, this doesn't happen. Now that's where the presence is being felt. Can learning and development be a reason for reducing the execution gap in an organization? The biggest I would say the biggest typhoon, biggest problem, biggest issue that sits in front of all the senior executives of a company in a board meeting. So my request to you is that my next suggestion, make your presence felt by addressing the execution gap through learning and development, whether it is leadership development, individual effectiveness, or behavioral change. How many of us believe in this saying? It is the front line of the organization which produces the bottom line. Do we agree with this? It's always the front line which produces the bottom line. And it is many times, many times, that the front line has no clue about the money-making model of the organization. They have no clue. How does my organization make money? Paradox, na? My front line produces my bottom line, but they have no clue of how does my work connect with the money-making model of the organization. Have you heard of this concept called line of sight? You know, some people like Jack Welch has put it in his book very beautifully. Tiger follows that excellently well. It says, if I have to just be successful, I have to create a line of sight which no blurring. And what he means is that the person sitting right in the front line with the client, with a click of a button, can know what's happening at the, not at the top line, but what's happening at the money making model. Another model, get in purpose clarity for your people, get the systems aligned, make sure that the talent is unleashed by its people and trust is restored at the core of the organization. You know why? Because these four things connect the body, heart, mind and spirit of an organization. The second part of the presentation, the first was about performance and results. The second part was about that let's make it a lead measure, not a lag measure. You know why? It's right here. I'm not going to spend time on it. They are all important, but please choose yourself. Where would you like to live, or where would you like your children to live in today? And you'll get your answer. Would you like your children to focus on lag measures, or would you like your children to focus on lead measures? You know why? Because this is what it is. Pay attention to these slides. Very self-explanatory. It measures the goal, it measures something that leads to the goal. It is much more predictable, the lead measures. Give you an example. A lot of us, including me, wants to lose weight. I don't know how many of us here. So lag measure is to stand up on the weighing machine at the end of the day or at the end of the month. And I'll give you a sure, it was 100 yesterday also, it is 100 today also. Very bad. But if you focus on the lead measure, it might be easier to lose weight. The number of calories that I'm eating and the number of miles that I'm running. That is important. Measure that rather than standing on the weighing machine. I mean, do stand on the weighing machine. I'm not saying it's not important, it is. From the shop floor, do I report the monthly incidents or accidents, or do I focus on compliance to the 8 key safety standards? Much better, because it reduces that, which is about incidents and accidents. And let's spend a little time from here on L&D, increased performance, which is monthly, yearly performance report, or something like this. Proactive time spent on training on identified skills and competencies, not just training. So I'm not filling a log of hours. Or time spent on OJT, coaching, mentoring, specific skills around each of these. I mean, this is what is, there is a project we just completed, a long one with the sales team of a large BPO, and we were working with them for a long time, and it had elements of right from onboarding till the person went on directly into the market selling. It's a 1-year project that happened, and it moved from phases to phases, including training, finding, onboarding, and OJT. So my sincere request to all of you would be, focus on the lead measure, and you will be able to bring tremendous value when it comes to our function. And I think learning and development is a very pious place. Our education industry in the schools is also kind of struggling. That is why they say the telecom revolution happened a few years back in our country, and that is why we are today in telecom way ahead of many of the world. Education revolution is on its way.